Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and a very happy Tuesday, everybody here at Prime Sports World. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman, joined from the Daily Blitz.blog's own Christian Simpson. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome. Thank you very much on Facebook, all those giving us shout-outs there, saying hi over there on the YouTube channel. We appreciate that. On today's episode of the show, we're going to break down championship weekend. We're going to spin the coaching carousel, as we have had some guys get hired and fired since the last time we talked about the coaching carousel. Adele, appreciate your support over there on the YouTube. We're going to talk about the National Football League. If you have any comments or concerns or questions, leave those down in the comments section. I'm David Huffman. There's Christian Simpson. Welcome in, Christian. Are you happy coming off the Natty? You happy coming off of the divisional round of the playoffs?
Yeah, most definitely.
Prime football time right now, right?
Yeah. First off, I'm glad to be back. You know, there's always that one Monday night during the season where I'm not going to be on because, I do have to break down the Natty, but it was a great game. I was able to talk about it with Izzy and Matt on College Football Showdown. And David, this was actually the first time where I didn't give a shameless plug. I actually previewed the game before I went on the show. So I was able to talk about it, break it down. Phenomenal game. I knew this would be a trench war. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you made me becoming like a prognosticator, man.
How so?
I mean, your prediction was like 1 point off. Like,
yeah, it's almost scary, but nah, man. It's always fun to break the game down. Whether I'm talking NFL with you, whether I'm talking college with Izzy, or anyone for that matter. Of great game, one of the better national title games that I've been able to break down in the last couple of years or so. Miami just ran out of gas. In Indiana, they've just been a consistent force all year long, David.
Let's talk about the championship weekend. Let's start first in the AFC.
Let's do it.
The New England Patriots going into Mile High and taking on the Bo Nix / Denver Broncos. Patriots obviously with the dominating victory against the Houston Texans, forcing 5 turnovers from C.J. Stroud. I think 6 turnovers over the whole of that team in that rainy situation there in Foxborough. Denver obviously escaped against the Buffalo Bills. Denver obviously, fractured ankle for Bo Nix in the second to last play of the game. If you don't include the kneel down to set up the field goal, just a tough break for Denver going into this AFC title game. Fun fact, though, the Broncos and the Patriots have actually met 5 times in the playoffs, going all the way back to 1987. And Denver is 4-1 in those matchups, with the most recent matchup being in 2016 with the AFC Championship game. There, where Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos beat New England en route to winning their second Peyton Manning's second Lombardi. Then they played again in 2014 in the AFC title game again. I think that's the game where Seattle beat down the Denver Broncos.
That is. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So, and then they played 2 years before that. The one time that Denver got the in the AFC divisional. This is the lone victory for the New England Patriots in 2012, 45-10 as New England shellacked Denver. I think that may have been Tim Tebow on that playing quarterback.
That was Tim Tebow. And I think that's the game when Brady threw like 6 touchdown passes in the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, oh my God.
But this is 2025. Last time these two teams actually played against each other was a very competitive game in 2023. Christian, do you remember who won that game in 2023?
I think New England won that game in Denver.
New England did win that game. Neither of these teams were really all that good this season. Patriots coming in at 4-11. They won this game 26-23. Broncos fell to 7-8. Quarterbacks. Can you name the quarterbacks for these two teams going into this game?
So for New England, I want to say it was Bailey Zappi.
You got it. Yeah, 25-33, 256 yards and 2 touchdowns for Denver.
And was it Russell? Last name Wilson.
It was Russell Wilson. We're in 2025 now, Christian. Is it coming? Let's go, baby.
David, come on, David. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go.
On my count. 1, 2, 3.
Shameless plug number one, baby.
Yeah. So, David, I'm going to take it back with New England because when I thought about this, you immediately came to mind. You know what I was reminded of when I was watching that game against Houston the other day? Remember the AFC Championship when the Colts went up to New England? It's snowy, it's cold, those fans are really into it, and they just put on a turnover clinic against Peyton Manning. They did the same exact thing against CJ Stroud, and I love everything this Patriots defense is doing. They're taking after their head coach, Mike Vrabel. I mean, they want to be nasty, they want to be physical, they want to be downhill, they want to make you one-dimensional, and they want to force takeaways. And the fact that they're in this position after winning 4 games last year, I mean, that's just a true testament to coaching. And I told you this, I saw Drake May up close a couple of weeks ago in a scrimmage against the Jets. And this kid is a wizard in the pocket. This kid, he doesn't take sacks. Like, if he's going to get rid of the ball, he gets rid of the ball. And you just don't see many young quarterbacks doing that. I mean, these receivers are playing well. Like, New England, this is the best I've seen New England look in quite some time. In Denver, I have to be honest with you, David. I wasn't necessarily happy with the way they looked against Buffalo. Yeah, they did come away with the win, but there were some things that got to tighten up. I think we had a feeling that it would come down to these two. These are obviously the top 2 seeds in the AFC. Denver's going to be without Bo Nix. So, I just wonder what Sean Payton is telling Jarrett Stidham.
He hasn't thrown a pass in 2 seasons. Like, he hasn't thrown a pass since he took over for Russell Wilson that season 2 years ago. Like,
yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm really looking forward to both games. But the AFC, man, this feels like 2016 all over again. I previewed that one all those years ago, and that ended up being the final matchup between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. You had Von Miller in his prime. You had Gronk, who was kind of still slightly in his prime, I want to say. The DeMarcus Ware was way past his prime. Peyton and DeMarcus now are both Hall of Famers. And the thing I remember about that game was that Denver front four just got home and they consistently put pressure on Brady. They're going to have to do the same again with Drake May because, he has forever and a day and too clean of a pocket to throw from. I preview this one on Thursday. Be on the lookout.
You can go check that over there on the Daily Blitz blog. This is tough because, you make it to the AFC title game. And you're like, especially for Denver Broncos fans, I follow, there's a YouTuber, That's Good Sports. I follow all his content. He's a big time Denver Broncos fan. And just the pain in his he posts his recap videos of every Broncos game and just the pain that the guy went through. I work with a coworker that is also a Broncos fan. I'm going to see him tomorrow because I've been off the last couple of days. I just wonder what he's feeling like. Yeah, you made it to the AFC title game, but at what cost? And on top of that, I mean, if you can win that game in regulation, he doesn't get hurt. I just think it's a tough blow. Jarrett Stidham, he's been in that system for 4 years for 4 years, so he knows its system as well as anybody could. I'm not sure he's that good, and I don't think the pieces around him are like ceiling raisers of a quarterback who Bo Nix felt like he was elevating the ceiling of the guys around him, not the other way around. I mean, the only really pass catcher you can really count on in Denver is Cortland Sutton. Even him,
Sutton, yeah.
I mean, even him has moments where he just disappears. He was terrible in the first half of that title game, the divisional round, and great in the second half. I just don't think you can rely on it. None of those guys are ceiling raisers. This is going to be a game where they're going to have to lean heavily on the run game. Yeah. I know they're supposed to get J.K. Dobbins back. They're going to get R.J. Harvey back. He's not going to be. It's just going to be. They're going to have to use those guys more often. I mean, they're going to have to commit to running the football. Something Sean Payton doesn't exactly do the best of all the time. it's just a tough break for Denver. You have this fantastic season, and then you're heading into the AFC title game. And my bewilderment when like that news broke, like during the Niner game, I was like, this can't be real. Like this feels like some kind of this feels like it felt very similar to like when the Luka trade went down. Like I'm like this isn't real. Like there's no way that all of a sudden Bo Nix is hurt. Like when did he get hurt? What play did he get hurt on? And then you go and watch it back, right? And when you actually look at it, you're like, yeah, he probably did get hurt there. And then for him to do the post-game interview and everything, like without even mentioning it, like that's some toughness right there, man. That's crazy. You break your ankle and then you're able to still throw a football 40 yards in the air, and then you're able to do a post-game interview like it was literally nothing. It's just a tough break for Denver. I don't think there's a chance in hell they win this game now. I know their defense is elite. I just don't think like a lot of the times we talk about this, like their offense has to play complementary football. And I just don't think that'll be the case. I mean, this Bronco defense gave up some points against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Patriots have the same opportunity to do the same thing. I got to take the Patriots. It causes me immense pain to pick the New England Patriots because I hate them. But given that Denver is going to be going into this game with a quarterback that hasn't played in 2 years, it's just not a recipe for the success. And this Patriots team, let's not pretend like they may not have won this game anyways. I mean, even with Bo Nix there, I mean, this defense has been next level this season, especially in the playoffs. What we've seen them against the Chargers and against the Houston Texans. I mean, Drake May has really elevated the weapons around him. Outside, Keyshawn Boutte was kind of an afterthought when he came out of college, even though he was, when he was recruited to LSU, a pretty highly recruited guy. And many people thought he would be like that next LSU wide receiver. It just never really panned out that way. Injuries and just kind of work ethic stuff while he was in college. But he's played better in the pros. I mean, Demario Douglas. I mean, Stephon Diggs has had a really a revival season coming off the ACL tears. You got two running backs that you can count on: Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper at the tight end position. I just think that the Patriots this is a really loaded football team, and they benefited from the fact that they were able to spend a bunch of money this offseason because their rookies, their quarterback who elevated his own ceiling, is on his rookie deal and not getting paid that much money.
He's not. And David, remember, I told you, when we were getting ready to preview week 1, I remember mentioning to you, I thought the Patriots had the best offseason out of any team in the league last year. If you have money, you got to go out and spend it. They get Milton Williams. They get Carlton Davis III, who I think has been absolutely phenomenal for this secondary. And they get Stephon Diggs, which was, high risk, low reward. And he's been a great veteran and a great complementary asset amongst these wide receivers. They run the football. They have a two-headed monster in Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. And what Jahmyr Gibbs is to the Detroit Lions, that's exactly what Travion Henderson is to the New England Patriots offense. They're a better offense when he has it going. Defensively, they're getting off the field. They get off the field on third down. They're getting after the quarterback. They're applying pressure. They're playing coverage. They're playing with lane discipline. They play with gap integrity. I mean, yeah, this is a really good New England team. And I don't think people realize how good they've been this year. And as far as Denver, that's a tough break for them because, you're thinking, oh, wow, Bo Nix, he hasn't been bad this year, but I am going to give you one weapon for Denver. Watch out for Marvin Mims. I think he's their most consistent playmaker. You need a catch, he can get it for you. You need a guy to help convert the chains. He's your guy, and I know he's a versatile factor because he's also pretty he's pretty important in the special teams aspect of things too.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots. I just think that with the injuries to Denver, without having a quarterback, I just think it dampers what has been a really successful. I still think, and thank you for the Everything Sports podcast over there on YouTube. He saw us say go Patriots. I'm picking the Patriots. If you follow this channel fairly regularly, you almost never pick the New England Patriots. But I just think the uphill battle that Denver, and Sean Payton is going to coach his ass off. I think they'll have this team ready. They'll have a good game plan. It won't be enough. Period. It just won't be. From the AFC, swinging into the NFC, we got a rubber match between two teams in the NFC West. as the Rams took the first matchup of the season between these two teams. And then just a few weeks later, Seattle won that game on that crazy comeback in overtime. And fun fact, these two teams have actually met 2 other times in the playoffs. Seattle has dropped both of those matchups. First in 2005 to the St. Louis Rams, 27-20. And then back in 2021, both of these were in the wild card rounds, 20-30 in 2021 as the Rams. I think that's the season they went to the Super Bowl, but don't quote me on that because I don't really remember. But either way, the Rams have kind of had their number, the Seahawks number in the playoffs. Both of these games, though, were in the Rams building, either at SoFi or at wherever they played it in St. Louis, whatever that dome was called. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. And a fun fact, the Seattle Seahawks actually lead the all-time series between these two franchises by 1 game, 29-28. Both of these teams are kind of going in pretty healthy at this point. I don't think they have any significant injuries really to talk about. But this is a rubber match between two teams that don't like each other. We'll see what ends up happening. And Christian, let's talk about it. Let's get it going, baby. Let's fire it up.
David, let's go. Let's go. On my count, 1, 2, 3.
Shameless plug number 2,
baby. Yeah, the Rams had to edge that game out. Sorry, David. Yeah, the Rams really had to edge that game out. But I want to say this to you, being a Bears fan. You have nothing to hang your head down about. Team.
It's been a fun ride for real.
And they're only going to get better. Seriously. Yeah, but I look at this Rams team and throughout the week, people are telling me the Rams have no chance and this and that. I'm like, no, the Rams can be a very physical football team. And that's what carries over into the elements, especially. And they had to grind that game out. The defense was as sharp as it has looked in I don't know how long. Offensively, they did just enough. I mean, they got the running game going, but I think that finger on Matthew Stafford is hurting him more than he's letting on. Because he passes he normally connects on, those guys were dropping it or he just didn't get the ball there. The last time the Rams and the Seahawks played, Devontae Adams didn't play. That's big time. He's huge. I mean, look, he may not be a number 1 wide receiver anymore, but I think he may be the best number 2.
He doesn't have to be. I mean,
he doesn't have to be. Yeah, that's what you got Puka for. But this Rams defense is one of my favorite units to watch with Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Kobe Durant. Who's the other guy? Quentin Lake. They have so many playmakers on this defense.
They have also John Landman or Landman, Nate Landman, Omer Spades, Jared Verse, Poona Ford, who plays a nose tackle for them. So
then you look at Seattle, and I think Seattle is the most well-rounded team out of everybody remaining in this field of 4. They run it, they throw it, but I want to see how Seattle's going to replace Zach Charbonnet. He tore his ACL in that win over San Francisco, but man, that wasn't belt to ass on Saturday. That was switch to ass. Seriously. Seattle, this defense really takes after Mike McDonald. I mean, it's almost like I'm watching Baltimore in 2023 all over again. I previewed this one on Friday. David, I'll make sure you're one of the first people to see it. Be on the lookout.
You can find it over there on the Daily Blitz blog. And I was actually wrong. So that game that in 2021, that's actually, I believe, the last game that Jared Goff ever played for the Los Angeles Rams. Because if you remember, he gets hurt during that game, and John Wolford came in, and then he started against Green Bay in the divisional. In the next weekend, the Packers ended up moving on, and then they lost in the NFC title game against. That is not coming to me, but the Eagles. Was it the Eagles?
The Rams?
No, the Packers ended up losing. The Packers ended up losing to somebody in the title game. I just don't remember who.
Tampa
it was.
Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay. Which what may have been Aaron Rodgers' final season in Tampa Bay, or one of the final seasons. And then Seattle had Russell Wilson, and I was just curious because I enjoy this kind of history stuff. So the St. Louis Rams and the Seattle Seahawks met in 2005. This game actually was in Seattle. Do you know who the 2 quarterbacks were for these 2 teams in 2005?
Matt Hasselbeck.
Matt Hasselbeck, 27 of 43 for 341 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And the
Rams.
other has to be Mark Bulger.
Mark Bulger, let's go. 18 to 32, 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I thought Mark Bulger was going to be better than his career ended up shaking out.
I agree.
I thought Mark Bulger had some moments where he looked like he was going to be like a perfect replacement for Kurt Warner, and he just like his career just fizzled out real quick.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. You're absolutely right.
It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, these two teams, both of their matchups this season have been decided by 1 point, and then the first matchup earlier that in November was decided by 2 points. One went to overtime. The Seahawks ended up winning it. This is really close. Like I think when you look at Seattle, I mean, Kenneth Walker, like I think. You hate to say something like a player getting injured is kind of like quote unquote a blessing in disguise, but like the fact that now they're gonna have to commit to like giving Kenneth Walker the bulk of these carries because he's a better running back than Zach Charbonnet. And
agreed.
Like one of the things that was frustrating about Seattle for, I mean, basically most of the season and like most of last season is they seem to like they seem to be like a 50-50 split between these two guys. And Kenneth Walker is just more talented than Zach Charbonnet. No disrespect to him. He's a good running back. But Kenneth Walker is more dynamic. He's more versatile. He's just more explosive than Zach Charbonnet is. And now they have Kenneth Walker as the featured guy. I don't know what they're going to do for backup. Also, I wish TJ were on the show right now. I forgot to mention it during the Broncos-Patriots preview. You know who the Broncos brought in off their practice squad to be one of their backup quarterbacks?
Who?
Christian DiNucci. Ben DiNucci.
Oh, man.
I love Ben DiNucci, Christian.
Yes, you do. Yes, he does, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he does.
I love DiNucci, man. From XFL fame. But, I mean, when you look at this roster, I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigga, Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed has been a perfect trade deadline ad. I mean, this offensive line is fantastic. I mean, they're just built like a really solid football team on both sides of the football, in the trenches, in the secondary. I mean, Nick Manwari could win defensive rookie of the year. I mean, Devin Weatherspoon. I mean, this is just a really good defense. And then on the Rams, I mean, you have the two-headed monster, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. You have the two-headed monster in your backfield, Kyra Williams and Blake Corum. Another loaded defense. This is like as close to a coin flip as I can really remember.
I agree.
I'm gonna take the Rams, because I think I don't think they're gonna be intimidated by the 12th man, and they're not gonna be worried. Like they've already won 2 tough road games, like going into Carolina, that atmosphere, going into Chicago, and that atmosphere. I wouldn't be surprised that either of these teams wins, though. I think they're as evenly matched as I can ever remember in an NFC title game. Like these teams feel like they're built very similar. They both have like strengths in similar places. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, who do I have more faith in, Matthew Stafford or Sam Darnold? And it's still Matthew Stafford. Even with the finger injury, even with any of the other stuff going on, it's still Matthew Stafford. Sam Darnold's had a fantastic season, but he's turned the ball over a ton this season. And I'm pretty sure they still have a negative turnover differential. And they're one of the only teams to be a number 1 seed in a conference to have that kind of a stat. And Sam Darnold turns the ball over here. I know he turned it over 4 times in their first matchup. He didn't look great in their second matchup. He just kind of pulled the rabbit out of the hat towards the end of the game. I mean, because for the most part, I mean, the Rams have basically been either ahead or during most of this matchup between these two. 7 out of 8 quarters have gone to the Rams. I will take the Los Angeles Rams. This is going to be a fantastic football game, and I'm glad it's like the primetime game so people can get home and watch it and relax on a Sunday. I obviously got to work, but it should be a fantastic weekend of football. Like Bo Nix's injury aside, I still think that's going to be a compelling matchup because I think that there's a lot of intrigue now. Like, what are the Broncos what are they going to look like? How are they going to game plan around that scenario? And so and then Seattle Rams, Seahawks, rubber match between these two teams. I mean, both of their matchups have been really, really close. They're evenly matched. It's going to be a fantastic weekend of football.
Yeah, it really is. And David, I was just talking to someone today, and I said to him, this is the best playoffs I've seen in quite some time, just because
Yeah.
of how wide open it's been, and just the level of competition has been in an all time high. I mean, we were blessed with 4 great games right out the bat last week in Super Wild Card weekend. Carolina and the Rams was a thriller that came down to the fourth quarter. Obviously, the Packers and the Bears coming back from 18 down. Buffalo and Jacksonville was a really good one. And even the 49ers and the Eagles was also a good game as well. It was the final two that were, as you like to put it, barn burners.
Yeah, I think so because like last year in the wild card round, we had all fantastic matchups, and then the divisional round always sometimes falls short. Not the case this year. Like they've all been very, very good matchups outside of the Patriots.
Man, look,
I mean, 2 of the 4 were awesome.
Yeah. I mean, look, the best divisional round I ever saw was in 2022. It was the Bengals and the Titans, the 49ers and the Packers, the Rams and the Buccaneers, and the Bills and the Chiefs. And all 4 games came down to one final possession. Literally.
That year, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm just kind of trying to remember. Me and my buddies were all in Milwaukee for a Bucks game, and
I remember that.
So
I remember you sending us pictures. I remember that.
So we went so we stayed in Milwaukee one more night, and one of my best friends, Andy Collins, he's a big Packers fan. I was with my other buddy, John Andrulis. He's a Bears fan. I'm a Bears fan. We went to a bar in Milwaukee, and we're like aggressively rooting for the Niners at this Milwaukee Packers bar, and like when I don't remember was it Robbie Gold, when Robbie Gold kicked that field goal to beat the Packers. Like, I thought we were gonna have to fight our way out of that bar. Like, it was crazy. It was unbelievable. Like, it was such a crazy weekend.
That's hilarious. Nah, I just remember, I like looking back at like a lot of the things I've previewed, and just kind of thinking about the divisional round. Like, I think of a lot of the games that I've been able to break down, and like literally the 3 best that I've done were that Bills Chiefs I just mentioned. Where I think they went back and forth in the span of 20 seconds or something.
Yeah.
The Ravens and Bills just last year was absolutely beautiful. The one where Mark Andrews dropped the ball in the end zone. And man, I'm going to take it back here, David. I know you remember the Mile High Miracle, Ravens, Broncos. I mean, man, so
Jacoby Jones, may he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Man, like playoff football is where some ordinary names become legends. That's the way I look at it.
100%. Let you know. Let me know what your predictions for the AFC title games, the NFC title game. Can't wait for the Super Bowl in a couple weeks now. I'm super bummed actually that the Niners got knocked out because we just do so much in my station with the Niners, and like now that they're out of the playoffs, like we'll still do tons of Super Bowl stuff because it's in our backyard.
Yeah, for sure. Are you gonna go up to the stadium like during the week?
I guess I don't really know, but they haven't given us the solid plan yet. I think I may have actually just accidentally missed the meeting for that today, actually. But I'm thinking about it. They didn't tell me that I needed to do it. I guess I'll worry about it tomorrow. Anyways, moving on from there, let's talk about the coaching carousel just a little bit here. Obviously, congratulations, Christian. You got the top name in this cycle. John Harbaugh goes to the New York Football Giants. That's pretty good. Kevin Stefanski hired by the Atlanta Falcons. Not totally confirmed, but I think it's been pretty close to confirmed. Robert Saleh will be the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Jeff Hafley, also same kind of scenario. He should say hired, not fired, but he got hired by the Miami Dolphins to replace Mike McDaniel. And then Sean McDermott yesterday, shortly after they were bounced in the playoffs, he gets fired by the Buffalo Bills. And what's crazy to me about the Sean McDermott scenario is that Brandon Beane, who's the GM of the Buffalo Bills, was not only was he not fired, but he was like promoted to team president. Over the 8 years that Brandon Beane has been the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, he's drafted 2 Pro Bowlers. 2. That's not a fireable offense. I'm not sure what is. Just looking at still, we have a couple other open jobs here. By the way, 10 coaching openings in one cycle is the most in the history of the NFL.
Wow. I never knew
Uh,
that. Wow.
Yeah, so that's more than, because on average we usually have about 7 or 8, 6 or 7 every single cycle. 10 is the most openings. It's basically a third of the league is looking for a new head coach. Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Cardinals, Raiders, and Bills also looking for head coaches. What do you think about the guys hired, and what do you think about the Sean McDermott firing? Because we didn't really get to talk about it yesterday because we're breaking down the natty.
Yeah, I was. You know, I'm not surprised that it happened. I mean, he's a large part of the reason why the Buffalo Bills have turned it around, because I think they made the playoffs 8 years in a row. They won
Yeah,
5
he was there 9. He was there 9 years. They made the playoffs 8 of those 9. The only season he didn't make the playoffs was that first season.
Right. He was able to coach up a league MVP in Josh Allen. It just seemed like they could just never get over the hump, David. They unfortunately have run into the same team 4 times. They can beat that team in Kansas City in the regular season, but they can't beat them when it matters most, which is the postseason. They even ran into Cincinnati that one year. And to me, that's when I knew, all right, I don't think he has much longer as the Buffalo Bills head coach. Again, I'm not shocked. I'm really not. And I agree with you wholeheartedly on Brandon Beane. I think they just needed to clean house because he hasn't really done anything. He hasn't really.
If you fire the head coach, and the reason you're firing the head coach is because he's come up short, you're the one that's been giving him the pieces to.
Exactly.
I don't understand why you would promote that person,
right,
and allow them to be involved in the GM and the head coad search. Brian Daboll is probably going to get this job.
I hope not. Nah, I think Brian Daboll is more of an offensive coordinator than a head coach. I would go with Clint Kubiak. I think they need somebody who's young, who's innovative. And look, it's not a knock on Brian, because he's kind of like the reason why Josh Allen is who he is now. I remember that first year when Josh Allen had his breakout year. Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. But I think Clint Kubiak would be perfect, because the 2 issues I have with the Buffalo Bills, one, I'll never understand why James Cook isn't on the field in crucial moments of the football game. He's your best offensive player. And how many times do I say it? The Buffalo Bills offense is much better when they let James cook, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So number 2, and this goes in target to the general manager, Brandon Beane. The Buffalo Bills don't have a true number 1 wide receiver. Look, as a defense, guys like Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel and Keon Coleman and those guys, none of those guys scare me. When they had Stephon Diggs, and I know he was a diva, when they had Stephon Diggs, he scared me, because he was the guy you had to know where he was at all time. That's why, and I even remember telling you this during the offseason and when the season started, before the trade deadline. Before the trade deadline started, go after Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints. They should have. And I think you're in a different position right now. Or before the Commanders signed him, I would have tried to make a move to try to acquire Terry McLaurin. He would have instantly been that go-to weapon and that number 1 receiver for Josh Allen. And they just don't have that. They have a bunch of guys, and it's a wide receiver number 1 by committee type of thing.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that the Sean McDermott got fired. I thought sometimes you just need to have somebody different. I think they've kind of plateaued under Sean McDermott, and I'm not sure who you're going to get who's going to be a better coach than Sean McDermott, but I think they just need a different voice. I love the hiring by Robert Saleh by the Tennessee Titans. He's really regenerated his coaching stock by going to San Francisco and with a bare bones defense that's getting hurt and just still being able to put up a pretty good unit there. Jeff Hadley was a guy who quickly rose through the ranks. He was, DC there was a head coach of Boston College for 3 years, as Christian knows with the college. And then, he was also Ohio State co-defensive coordinator there as well in 2019. He becomes his first head coaching gig. So shout out to him. Shout out to Robert Saleh. Are you excited about John Harbaugh, the Giants?
Yeah. I think the Giants finally hit a home run with this move. First, David, can you still hear me okay? I'm still trying to test this new. Okay. I think the Giants hit a home run with this because for so long the Giants have gone after guys without experience, and this isn't a knock on anybody, but having that experience guy matters. Like John Harbaugh has 18 years. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's a proven winner. But the thing that stands out to me about John is, he comes in and he establishes what type of structure he wants. It's all about team first, locker room first, chemistry. You're going to be there for your teammates. You guys are going to be brothers in arms and everything. And, the one thing I took away from him in all those years of watching him in Baltimore was, one, he preached that no man was bigger than anybody in the locker room. It didn't matter what their name was. It didn't matter like how they were getting paid, how much they were getting paid. Like everyone was held accountable, no matter who they were. And he did a pretty good job of coaching some big names. I mean, they were at the end of their careers, but he did coach Ray Lewis and he did coach Ed Reed. Both guys are Hall of Famers. He also coached Terrell Suggs. Terrell Suggs won a Defensive Player of the Year under him. Lamar Jackson won the 2 MVPs, and then Derrick Henry as well. So, he knows how to coach and handle those big names. But the thing I think that stands out to me about John is, and a lot of older head coaches have a problem with doing this, they struggle to adapt within the game. He's adapted, yet he still remains true to his identity. They want to be fast, they want to be physical, and they want to be downhill.
Kevin Stefanski for the Atlanta Falcons. We know there's one panelist that's regularly on the show not happy about this hiring.
Yeah,
how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? I still think Stefanski's a good coach.
He's not.
I don't know if he's the right guy for this particular job, but I mean, if you get a guy who has head coaching experience, I don't necessarily hate it. And I'm not sure Michael Penix might not play next season. Like he tore his ACL, right? And so he had surgery.
I think so.
So like I don't know. I mean, this Kevin Stefanski, this could be a scenario where he's one and done there in Atlanta.
I can see that.
Not that I would ever wish that on anyone, but I just think that Falcon situation, I think is, especially if Michael Penix is missed most of the next season, that's not a good job. Like it's not a good way to. Like it's not a good. I wouldn't want to coach there right now.
No, I wouldn't either. And this was a job I thought Clint Kubiak was going to get because I know his name has really been making the rounds around with this coaching carousel just due to the job that he's done in Seattle with that offense. But look, let's get the obvious out the way. Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time Coach of the Year. Yeah, he did win a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns, but what else has he done in between that? But again, we'll see what happens with this because this could either go okay or it can go really, really bad.
Yeah. The big names, entering this coaching carousel. We got Mike McCarthy, former Super Bowl champion, former coach of the Green Bay Packers. Brian Flores, the Vikings DC, should be highly sought after. Mike Tomlin, the caveat with Tomlin is you would have to trade for him because the Steelers still own his rights. And they will for a while. So it's very similar to the Sean Payton scenario, because they didn't fire Mike Tomlin, he just stepped down. So they still have his
the Steelers don't fire head coaches. They've only had 3 since 1970. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
And then some other names just to kind of keep in mind. Clint Kubiak, who we kind of already talked about. Joe Brady, Bills offensive coordinator. Vance Joseph, Broncos DC, also with head coaching experience. Matt Nagy has been rejuvenated as a candidate after success with Andy Reid, also former Bears head coach. Steve Magnuolo, who's probably better suited as a coordinator, but I mean, he's had some stints as a head coach in St. Louis and the Giants did not go over super well. Or I think he was just the coordinator in New York.
No, I think he was the head coach for the Giants, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't pretend to know everything all the time. So, but I think he went to St. Louis and flamed out there, and then he got the DC job in Kansas City after that.
All right, we're about to solve this right now.
Because Coughlin was there the whole time, and Coughlin they went from Coughlin to Joe Judge, I think.
Yeah, he was just the defensive coordinator for the Giants. Yeah, he was the head coach for the Rams. But then again, Steve Spagnuolo's a little older now. Does he want to take on the responsibilities of being a head coach?
Lou Amaruno, Edgar Evero, Chris Shula, Jesse Minter, and then obviously, those are the big Mike McDaniel, who has former head coaching experience. Of the 6 jobs that are remaining, Christian, who do you think is the best of those 6?
I'm gonna say Buffalo, just due to the simple fact you take that job. You're coaching a quarterback that's in his prime, that's close to a year removed from winning his first Most Valuable Player award. I just think the Bills, they just need to add more pieces. Go get that number 1 wide receiver. You have James Cook. You have a good running back. The defense isn't bad. Just you get that number 1 wide receiver, and we're talking about the Bills, David, potentially getting back to the top of the AFC East. Seriously,
it's the Bills' job for me as well. Walking in that door knowing you're going to have Josh Allen as your quarterback. I mean, Josh Allen could coach the Buffalo Bills himself to 12 wins. So
you're not wrong. Josh Allen
is a generational talent. The Ravens' job, I think, is a very close second, given Lamar Jackson, given the weapons on that team with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. With Derrick Henry as well, still on that team. So I think that's a close second, along with Kyle Hamilton on the outside, on the defensive side. Might be the best defensive player in the NFL, or one of them. On the other side of this, which of this job is the job you do not want?
Come on, man. You already know what I'm going to say. The Raiders. They're a mess. Seriously.
But at least they have the first overall pick. So
but still.
But if you're a head coach and you take this job, you have the first overall pick. You can kind of build this team in your mold, and you get to have I think it's the Browns' job. I think
or them.
I mean, people clown the Browns, but like how bad their offensive line. It could get even worse. Every single starting linemen on the Browns last season are all free agents. So you have to replace the entire line with a owner that's notoriously cheap. And we do not know if there's a good quarterback on this football team right now or not. We have some idea, but I think the jury's still out on all the quarterbacks on the Browns roster at the current moment.
But the one shining point for the Cleveland Browns is number 95, man.
Yeah, I mean, if he's still there,
I was just about to ask you,
even a year from now.
I was just about to ask you. I think he's gonna be the biggest storyline of this offseason coming up. I think he's gonna get traded.
I think the Browns are going to want a king's ransom for him, as they should, right? I mean, he's about to win a 3rd DPOI or a 2nd DPOI. However many DPOIs he has. He just broke a sack record. I think the Browns might be stuck with him for a little bit longer. That sounds terrible to say stuck with, but the asking price I think is going to be too steep for the NFL. Any team in the NFL right now. As much as a game changer record, I don't think he gets traded this offseason. I think if that was going to happen, he wouldn't have signed that extension last offseason, and he would have probably been traded last offseason. I think he's going to stick it out.
Yeah, we'll see.
I could be wrong, but I actually think the Browns, Cardinals, and Raiders jobs are all terrible. Like I don't think any of them are super great jobs. As far as an NFL coaching job goes, like Browns, Cardinals, and Raiders, I think those are all terrible jobs. Like the Cardinals, that offense, you have no idea what the quarterback situation is going to be. You have no idea who the running back is going to be on that football team. The Raiders, as we talked about, there's nothing on that team right now. And the Browns, a lot of question marks everywhere on that roster.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
But yeah, this has been our championship weekend preview. Thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. If you like what we're doing here, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We only got a couple more episodes here as we start to wind down the National Football League. But don't worry, Prime Sports World will cover spring football again this year. So if you're a fan of spring football and you're a fan of the UFL, we will be covering it like we have done the last 3 seasons here at Prime Sports World. So the coverage and the content will continue into the offseason. And we will be talking about offseason stuff as we click in here towards the start of the regular. So as we get in the offseason, getting all the noise, it's just sad to see that the NFL season is winding down. But yeah, I'm David Huffman from the Daily Blitz blog. Go check out all of his predictions, all of his preview articles on the Daily Blitz blog. That's Christian Simpson. And Christian, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat. And we need it out here in New York and New Jersey because it's cold right now. So
it's nice. It's nice here in San Francisco.
I betted it. You know what? I'm not going to even say anything because I've done that on this show several times. So I'm gonna just take my loss like a man.
But yeah, we'll be back here later this week, probably next week, actually breaking down whatever happens on Sunday afternoon in the National Football League. Keep an eye out for all that content. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And Christian, you have a good weekend, brother.
Absolutely, man. Love you always, David.
Love you too, brother.